Going to be learning about the author's purpose. So while my screen is loading right now, I want you to think, what is the author's purpose? This is something that you might have heard about in first grade. This is something that you might have heard about in kindergarten. So just take a minute and think to yourself, what does author's purpose mean? What does that mean? And hopefully my screen will load quickly so we can get started. There we go. All right, so while you were thinking about author's purpose, I hope that you thought something like the author's purpose is the reason an author writes. When an author sits down to write a book or to write some text, he doesn't or she doesn't just sit down and just jot down notes. They sit down and they have a plan. They know exactly why they want to write what they're writing. So that is the author's purpose. It's simply why they want to write that book and why they want you to read it. That's author's purpose. So authors have a few main reasons or purposes for writing. One of those reasons or purposes is to share information with the reader. So sometimes authors write things to give you information or to help you learn something new. Sometimes authors write to explain something to the reader by giving directions. So sometimes authors give you directions or steps in order to do something. Authors also write to entertain the reader. So sometimes authors write books just for fun, just to make you laugh or to make you even maybe sometimes cry. Sometimes it could be a sad story. But when authors write a story to entertain, it's just to read for fun. It's not really teaching you anything and it's not really explaining anything to you. It's just something fun to read. And I know a lot of books like that. I like to read for fun, and I hope that you do too. Another reason that authors write books is to persuade the reader. Now, we're going to learn more about what persuade means, but persuade is basically they want you to believe something like they believe, or they want to convince you or try to get you to do something. So we're going to be learning more about persuade in the upcoming lessons. So these are just some of the reasons that authors write books. Authors can write books for many reasons, and these are just 4 of them that we're going to learn about during these lessons. Also, it's important for me to tell you that authors can have more than one reason to write a book. So sometimes we have to keep that in mind, but authors always have at least one main reason that they're writing a book. One reason authors write is to share information or to inform. Okay, let's talk about that. What does it mean to inform? Inform means to give someone information about something. So when an author is writing to inform, they're giving us information about a topic. Let's talk about some examples of what some texts look like that would inform us or give us information about something. Some examples are news reports. So if you ever watch the news, normally the news is giving you information about something going on in our town or in our state or even in our country. Research papers. So when a scientist researches something, they write a paper, and that's giving us information about what the scientist researched. Encyclopedias, schools' newsletters. So when I send your parents a letter or the school has a letter, that newsletter is giving your family information about whatever's going on at our school or in our classroom. Instructions give us information. Pamphlets from health clinics give us information. So when you go to the doctor and they give you a piece of paper, that's giving you information on what the doctor wants to share with you. Maps give us information about where things are. Timelines give us information about when things happened. And then schedules do the same thing. They give us information about when things are going to happen. Charts and graphs also give us information. So those are all different ways that we can get information. And authors write those things in order to give us information about different topics. So a lot of our authors write to give us information. And I know that that's one of my favorite things to read is books that give me information because I love learning new things. So we're going to watch just a little bit of this video on author's purpose, and you're going to learn a little bit more about authors writing to give information. We're not going to watch the whole video, though. We'll finish that up in a few lessons. So let's watch just a little bit of this video and learn more about authors giving us information. Let me get it loaded. And while this is loading, I want you to think, have you ever read a book that's given you information? I know that you probably have. If you like nonfiction books, then you have read books that give you information. And those are very, very important books to read. All right, let's go ahead and watch this little video and learn more about authors giving us information in books.
When you read, it's often helpful to think about the author's purpose. Often the author's purpose is to inform or educate the reader using facts. Sometimes the writer's purpose is to persuade or to convince the reader to do something.
We're going to learn more about persuade in the upcoming lessons, but right now we're just focusing on the inform part of the video. So keep that in mind. Authors write books to inform us or share information and facts.
As you watch this story about cheetahs, think about whether the writer is writing to inform or persuade. Cheetahs are big cats that live in parts of Africa and Asia. Once found in large numbers, they are now an endangered species. Cheetahs have small heads and long, slender bodies. Their yellowish coats have round black spots. Cheetahs are the fastest land animal, able to run in bursts of speed over 60 miles per hour. That's faster than the speed limit for driving in most of the country. The cheetah is the only cat with non-retractable claws. That means that their claws always stay out. A cheetah's claws and the pads on the bottom of their paws grip the ground when they run. Cheetah cubs learn by playing. The cubs chase and wrestle each other. They try to hunt animals that they know they cannot catch. Cheetah cubs stay with their mother for about a year and a half. When left in the wild, cheetahs usually live to be around 7 years old. Now let's take
Okay, so let's think about that story, or I'm sorry, that video that we just listened to. An author had to write out the words that went along with that video. So think, the author of the video, the person who wrote the words to go along with that video, why did they write that? What was their purpose in making that video? And while you're thinking about that, think also, did you learn anything new in the video? Were there any facts or details that gave you more information about cheetahs? If you thought that the author's purpose was to inform or share information, you are exactly right. The author of that video wanted to give us more information about cheetahs, and they did that by giving us facts or true details about cheetahs. I know that I learned something new. I learned that cheetahs run 60 miles per hour, which is so fast. That's just about as fast as my car can go. Well, actually, my car can go just a little bit faster. But also that cheetahs on their paws have special grips that help them grip to the ground while they run. So that video taught me new things about cheetahs that I didn't know before. So the author's main purpose of that video was to inform. Throughout this lesson, you're going to learn more about the author's purpose of sharing information or informing. So keep up the hard work, and I know that you guys are going to be a rock star at author's purpose. And I also challenge you, maybe read an informational book and see if you can learn something new when the author's purpose is to inform. We'll see you guys later. Bye, guys.